Boston, Massachusetts, March 18, 1990. Two men in police uniforms knock on the side door of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Inside, a 23-year-old security guard named Rick Abath buzzes them in without calling for backup, without verifying badges, without following a single protocol he was trained to follow. That decision will cost the world $500 million. In the next 81 minutes, those two men will remove 13 works of art from the walls of one of America's most prestigious museums. A Vermeer, 3 Rembrandts, a Manet, pieces that took centuries to create, gone in just over an hour. And in the 34 years since that night, not one painting has been recovered, not one suspect has been charged, not one person has ever been held accountable. This is the largest art theft in human history, and nobody knows who did it. Before we go further, take a second to hit the like button and subscribe. It helps this channel keep uncovering stories like this one. To understand what was stolen, you need to understand what the Gardner Museum was. Isabella Stewart Gardner was not a typical collector. She was obsessive, theatrical, relentless. She spent 30 years traveling the world, acquiring pieces that most museums couldn't afford and most collectors couldn't access. She built a palazzo-style building in Boston specifically to house her collection. When she died in 1924, her will was precise. Nothing inside would ever be moved, sold, or replaced. The collection would remain exactly as she left it, forever. Which means today, 34 years after the theft, the empty frames still hang on the walls, exactly where she left them. The museum kept them there deliberately, placeholders, a reminder, a statement. Come back. Nobody has. March 17, 1990, St. Patrick's Day, Boston. The city is loud, streets packed, everyone drinking. It's the perfect night to disappear into noise. Two men are moving through the city, carefully. We don't know their names. We don't know their faces. What we know is this: they had a plan, and the plan was specific. They knew the museum's layout. They knew the shift schedule. They knew which guard would be working the overnight. Some investigators believe they had inside information, someone who knew the building, someone who knew the routine, someone who made sure the right door would be opened at the right time. Abath buzzed them in at 1:24 a.m. He later claimed he thought they were real police responding to a disturbance, but here is what investigators noted. Abath had propped open a side door earlier that evening. He had no explanation for why. The two men handcuffed both guards to pipes in the basement. They told them they were not there to hurt anyone, just there for the art. Then they went to work. 81 minutes. That is all it took. They moved through the Dutch room first. Careful, deliberate. They cut Rembrandt's only known seascape directly from its frame. They took a small self-portrait, a Vermeer worth $200 million alone. Then into the short gallery, a Manet, 5 Degas sketches, a Chinese bronze finial from the top of a flagpole. They left behind more than they took: a Titian worth $100 million, untouched, a Michelangelo sketch ignored. They were not grabbing randomly, they were choosing, which tells investigators one very specific thing: someone told them what to take. By 2:45 a.m., they were gone. The guards stayed handcuffed until the morning shift arrived at 8:15 a.m. When police entered the Dutch room, they found empty frames, cut canvas edges, bare hooks, and one detail that has never been fully explained. The motion sensors inside the museum had recorded movement throughout the building that night, but the security system had been put into a special mode before the thieves arrived, a mode that recorded but did not alert. Someone knew how to do that, someone who had been inside that building before. The investigation that followed was one of the longest and most expensive in FBI history. They looked at the Irish mob. At the time, the Winter Hill Gang controlled large parts of Boston's criminal underworld. Art theft had been used before as leverage, traded for reduced sentences, used as bargaining chips with prosecutors. The FBI believed for years that the paintings were being held somewhere in the Boston criminal network, used as collateral, moved quietly between hands. They looked at a known art thief named Miles Connor, who had stolen from the Gardner once before in 1975. Connor claimed he knew who did it, offered to help recover the paintings in exchange for reduced charges on separate crimes. The FBI negotiated. Connor provided names. The names led to nowhere. They chased a lead to Philadelphia, to a crime family with known connections to art trafficking. Agents spent years building a case, conducted wiretaps, surveillance operations, informant meetings. In 2013, the FBI announced publicly that they had identified the thieves, 2 men connected to the Philadelphia underworld, both dead. No paintings recovered. The announcement answered nothing because the paintings were still gone. Here is what $500 million in stolen art actually means. You cannot sell it, not publicly, not at auction, not through any legitimate dealer. Every major piece is cataloged, documented, internationally flagged. The moment any of those 13 works surfaces in the open market, it is seized, which means whoever has them cannot profit from them the way you would expect. So why steal them? 3 theories have survived 34 years of investigation. 1. Ransom. Steal irreplaceable cultural objects and sell them back to the institution or government. It has worked before. The Gardner offered a $10 million reward with no questions asked. Nobody ever called. 2. Collateral. Use the paintings as untraceable assets in criminal negotiations. Trade them for favors, protection, freedom. Art with no paper trail is worth more to some people than cash. 3. A private collector. Somewhere in the world, someone paid for these paintings knowing they could never display them, knowing they would never be seen, owning something the entire world is looking for. That last theory is the one that keeps investigators awake. The statute of limitations on the theft has expired. Whoever took those paintings cannot be prosecuted for the theft itself anymore. The FBI can only charge someone for possession or trafficking if the paintings resurface now, which means somewhere out there, someone is sitting on $500 million worth of the world's most wanted art, legally untouchable for the original crime, waiting. For what? Nobody knows. The empty frames still hang in the Dutch room. The museum's standing offer, $10 million, no questions asked, still active. The case still officially open. 34 years, 13 paintings, 0 arrests. Whoever did this didn't just steal art. They stole it perfectly. And the most unsettling part of this entire story is not that they haven't been caught. It's that they may never need to be.